Throughout this module, we'll be looking at digital audio workstations, their application, the theory, its history, and its future. But before we can look at any DAW system, we have to plot a timeline that shows its development from early electronic instruments. Lots of things have changed since the arrival of the first electronic instrument. The Hammond organ was invented in the 1930s, and it gets its tone from a collection of electromagnetic discs in a wheel system, very similar to the clutch system used in cars. Hammond then further went on to develop the rotary speaker or Leslie speaker. The 1940s saw the development of the Rhodes piano, a piano which had blades instead of strings and an electromagnetic pickup system, similar to those used in guitars. It was in the 1960s when Robert Moog used transistor circuits to generate, filter and amplify sound. It was in the late 60s when Moog developed his modular synthesizer, made famous by the switched-on Bach recording performed by Walter Carlos. Now known to his friends as Wendy. In the 1970s, the development of a new instrument called the mellotron saw the first steps towards sampling synthesis. It wasn't until the beginning of the 80s that the electronic instrument started to take the shape that we know today. It was leading engineers from rival synthesis companies Moog and ARP who formed a new company, Sequential Circuits. It was Sequential Circuits who developed the Prophet, the first synthesizer to use digital circuits to store analog settings to memory. The use of microprocessor control was further developed by Roland with the introduction of the range of Juno synthesizers. This was the start of MIDI control. For every key played or control parameter changed, a message could be stored and transmitted in a digital format. It was in 1983 when Yamaha developed the first synthesizer that created sound from digital circuits. The DX7 using FM synthesis. In 1985, Korg, known for its early monophonic synthesizer, the MS-10, developed the Korg M1, the first workstation of its type. It could record on multiple sequencer tracks, implement separate effects, and sounds were generated from sampling and FM synthesis. Sounds could also be archived onto ROM cards. The development of the workstation in the 80s was paralleled by the development of digital sampling techniques. Samplers enabled the user to take natural sounds and integrate it into a MIDI-controlled system. It was during the 70s and 80s that the home microcomputer evolved, clocking up faster speeds, bigger storage capacities, and becoming more powerful. As the home computer developed, so did the software, with an array of sequencing and audio software available to the home market. It's the development of the software and its integrated audio systems that have revolutionized our recording industry. Many manufacturers are now developing software versions of the early analog instruments in the form of virtual synthesizers, along with audio processing plugins that has helped us to develop our own home studios.